So I thought something I would do tonight is show you my little container garden. I have a patio. I don't have any area to plant things in the ground, and I don't know if I'd want to take care of a big garden anyway, but I decided this year to plant a little more than I have in previous years. So let's just go over what I've got here. And nothing that exciting, but I just thought I'd share it with you because I'm really proud of how things are doing. I mean, this is a tomato plant, and it just keeps going and going. At this point, it's about 5 feet tall without the pot. So I've got this little bit of flowers. Other than some geraniums out here, that's all that I have on the patio. I planted these zinnias, I think these are, to keep the bugs away, and pretty much they do. I don't have mosquitoes eating on me too much when I sit out here in the evening. These flowers are not blooming as well as I had hoped, but a few days after I planted these, there was a late light frost, and so it really blunted them. So blunted, stunted, whatever you want to say. So you know, they're not doing all that well, but I mean, the green is pretty, so we'll take that. In this pot I have some thyme, and I've got some sage. And if you don't have a green thumb, and I really don't all that much, but if you can't grow something, you can pretty much grow herbs. They're pretty easy. These I just water because it's very, very hot, and this pot is not very deep. I water these generally every day, especially when the cucumber starts to look droopy. I know that it's time to come out and water everything. In this pot here, we've got a couple of, I guess I could back that out, a couple of pepper plants, and we eat a lot of sweet peppers, and they're kind of pricey, so I thought I'd plant some this year. These are, I think I bought these at Menards, and they're supposed to be green and red peppers. This pepper is just now starting to put out a few. I think this particular pepper plant was also hit by that light frost, and it stunted it back a little bit. This is another couple of pepper plants, but mainly a big pepper plant that's in this pot. And let's see what this is. I think it might be, there we go. It's from Burpee, and I think this one is from a local garden center. And I can't stick this back in the ground. There we go. It's a sweet pepper, also the red and green varieties. This guy, I don't think is doing anything yet. So we'll just have to wait and see. And at the bare minimum, if it doesn't produce any peppers, it's a pretty, pretty plant. I've got a couple of varieties of tomatoes out here. This one is an heirloom, and I think it's a German heirloom, and it's got quite a few tomatoes on it, and it is grown. It's the biggest tomato plant that I have. Let's see, yeah, German Queen heirloom tomato from Bonnie Plants. This one may have come from Walmart. I do have this propped up with a tomato cage, and I do periodically tie up the branches to give them some extra support. I've even got a piece of rebar in there to kind of keep that tomato cage up, because this tomato has gotten very heavy, very top heavy. So hopefully we can keep that upright. This is a bit of parsley. I bought this pot with herbs already planted in it. It had parsley, basil, and sage, I think. Oregano. Parsley, oregano, and basil. The basil plant did not do well. It died. The problem with this plant was this pot when I bought it, and it's a Dollar Tree pot, didn't have any holes for drainage. So the plants got wet and stayed wet for too long, and it killed the basil. But the oregano looks nice, it's very pretty. And I've already topped this parsley twice and used it. I need to use it some more so I can kind of thin it out again. Back here we've got another heirloom tomato. Not as big as the other one, but has lots of yummy tomatoes growing on it. There's one in the back there, if you can see it. Right there. This is, I'll have to go and look. Sorry, didn't mean to make you dizzy there. The grass is not doing very well here. It's the normal July crunchy. So here's this tomato plant. Lots of heirloom tomatoes on it. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know if that is some kind of, it's not really that soft. I don't know if that's a parasite, a bug, an insect, or if that's some kind of disease, because I don't know that much about growing tomatoes. I know a lot more about eating them. Let's see what kind of tomato we are. Another German queen. But lots of blooms on it. Here I have a beautiful tomato plant, and it's got lots of, well, I have a tomato broken off. Lots and lots of tomatoes on it, and larger tomatoes. We've got one that's turning red, but it's fallen off and it's rotten. But I can't wait for these guys to come around and get right. Look at that guy. I have been keeping my eyeballs on him. He's nice and big, about the size of an apple right now. Another pepper here. This is a different variety called a Snackabelle Red. I don't think these peppers get very big, but they are a sweet pepper. Let's see. There's some back in there. Actually, I probably need to research and see if it's time to harvest these or some of these. Here is a staple in my container garden every single year. This actually, because we had such a mild winter, came back from the roots, even though it was in a pot all winter. Typically, because the roots are above ground, even though they're in a pot, they freeze and they die. But this one came back. This is mint, and we use this in our tea every night. So I will come out and cut a sprig, and this is getting kind of big. Cut a sprig and put that in our tea every evening, and it's delicious. I've got another tomato here. Kind of an interesting shape on these. Kind of got a teardrop shape. This one is not as tall as the others, but it is producing quite a few tomatoes. Let me see what this is. Red beefsteak. So it's going to be a nice, hearty, substantial tomato. These are heirlooms. Heirlooms, I think, are the best tasting tomato. There's a nice one in there. Look at all these. Lots and lots of tomatoes. So I can't wait for these to get ripe. Patience. Gardening takes patience. And finally, the last thing I have in my garden, in my container garden, is this cucumber. And I never grew cucumbers before. This is a new thing for me. I'm not sure how crazy this cucumber is going to get, but I do have it on like a cucumber cage. You can see in there, and I do come out and tie it up quite frequently because it gets unruly. This is a pickling cucumber, so these are not going to get huge. That was actually about ready to harvest. And I have taken 2 off of it this season. Oh look, we got a little guy over there. And I am ready. Oh look, there's another one. I'm ready for a couple more. So I probably will harvest these in a few days. Yeah. This year I tried felt pots for the first time. I like them because they were inexpensive and they give you a much more, a larger pot than would be affordable for me. And they are able to soak water up from the bottom. If they were sitting in a baby pool, they would not have to be watered as often. But I really like these pots. I will probably continue to use these in the coming seasons. Anyway, I just wanted to share my little tiny container garden on my little tiny patio, and I hope that this inspires you to grow something. Try to grow something, because there's a huge reward and feeling of accomplishment when you are able to harvest something that you've grown from your own labor. So thank you all for being here, and I will see you the next time.